What is up, YouTube? My name is Orestes, and today's video I want to share 5 things that really improved me as a copywriter in 2025 that I'm going to be carrying over to 2026 and that you can use as a copywriter to improve and charge more and definitely get paid more as a result. So let's get into it. Number one is that I stopped seeing myself as just a copywriter and instead saw myself as someone that businesses want to partner with in order to scale. Now, in hindsight, it may be the same thing, and in a lot of occasions, it is the same thing as just being a copywriter or a marketer. But in the way that it's framed, when I'm talking to this business owners, is that I'm someone who will come to your business and will scale every department of your business, whether that be sales or marketing. And when you do that and when you frame it in that way, they stop seeing you as the guy who just writes words in a Google Doc, but they see you as the guy who can take strategy, who can develop strategy and execute the strategy in order for them to scale to the next level, whatever that level may be. Now, it's important to make that shift in your brain and in the way you view yourself as a copywriter, because that way you will be able to charge a lot more for your services. It's true that when we are working with retainers or when you're offering like standalone services like email marketing, ads, whatever that may be, you are capped to a specific type of money that you can charge them for. There is a ceiling. The market is so saturated nowadays that it's very difficult for you to charge very expensive prices, even if you're working with people that have the money to pay for it, because they're not dumb and they know what the prices are out there. So they do not want to get fucked over, basically. That's the first thing. So if you just see yourself as the copywriter who writes emails and goes to this brand that makes, I don't know, $1 million a month, and you tell them like, you will pay me $10,000 a month, they will not do it, because they're not stupid. Even if they make $1 million a month, they're probably paying you an extra 7,000 or 8,000 that they can get the same work out of someone else. So you see, that is why you need to shift that perspective of you being a copywriter and instead become the person that can scale their business or partner up with them in a specific area. And that way they can feel like they have someone they can trust, becomes a part of the business, becomes an asset to the business, and is a team member. That's who businesses value. They don't value the outside contractor or like someone who just comes in, delivers the work and bounces. Because these guys are easily replaceable. You need to become the man who is a partner, the man or woman, that is a partner to that business. Now, the second thing is that I stopped offering microservices and instead focused on offering macro services. Now, this may sound a little bit weird, but what I mean by microservices is very like dependent on the business you're going after. So a business has specific micro points and specific macro points that they want to fix. So let's just say there's a business that has a fucked up funnel and also has an email list. A micro fix would be to focus on solving or improving the quality of the email list. But that wouldn't really do much, because what they actually need help with is the funnel. And that is the macro thing. So what I did in 2025, which I'm going to continue doing in 2026, is that I stopped focusing on offering micro stuff to help them within their business. If I got into a call with a business and saw that the real problem was something bigger, I would immediately talk about that and immediately offer to fix that specific part, and not the micro stuff that they don't really value or they're not really interested in working with. That's why in order for you to be able to have a higher chance of closing deals and have a higher chance of getting paid more, you need to be able to diagnose in its specific business what is that macro thing that they really need to focus on and they want to focus on and they really want to improve in order for them to scale, rather than you focusing on stuff that you think will benefit them but won't really. And sure, from the outside, like when you're just reaching out to a business, you can't really know that, and that is understandable. But when you're on a call with them, and if you get to that point, you really have to understand what is the biggest pain point that they have right now in their business, what is the bottleneck, and you have to touch on that. Because if you try to fix that, that immediately increases your prices because it's a major problem that they have in their business, which means they definitely want to fix it. So if they want to fix it, that means they will pay more. Now, number 3 is very, very basic, and you probably have already heard of that. But the best thing I did in 2025 that I'm still going to be doing for however long I'm doing this is writing copy every day. Now, after a specific point, when you write so much, like you kind of like don't need to write every day, but at the same time, it's really, really important because Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, they're the best players in football, in the history of football, but they still practice every day, even after they have done it again and again and again, and they have won everything. So it's the same thing with marketing and copywriters. You still have to be doing it every day. You still have to be putting in the reps, because the more you put in the reps, the better you become and the more like creative you are. And this space is in need of creative thinking people. Now, the 4th thing that I did was that I got my mindset right. And this is by far the most important thing. In 2024, I struggled a lot with my mindset. I had a lot of ups and downs. But in 2025, I decided that I need to focus and really put my intention into fixing my mindset and improving it in all areas. I stopped thinking negatively. I stopped expecting negative things to happen, even though when business was going to sit and all the signs pointed towards that everything was going to come crossing down, I focused on thinking about the positive things and what good will come out of those negative things. Because when you think that way, you don't leave an option for your mind to be affected by the negative thing that will come to it, if it comes to it, So it's really, really important to fix your mindset. And there's a lot of books that can help you with that. But by far, the one book that helped me personally a lot was the Master Key System, which is just an amazing book. Really, really an amazing book. And anyone who is in this space, or anyone in general, should be reading this book and getting his mindset right, because it's amazing. Now, the 5th and last part is that I focused on working with businesses that I actually like working with and I enjoy working with. So as copywriters and marketers, we tend to go after any type of business. We want any type of business, any type of client, regardless of the needs, regardless of the situation, regardless of anything, because we're in this desperate state of we want money in. So we will work with anyone. And sure, in the beginning, if you don't have any clients, it's good to go after those deals, because you'll get your reps in, you'll hit your head on the wall, you will learn, you will make mistakes, and most importantly, you will get money in. But as you grow, as you move forward with your career, it's important to realize that you need to go after only the people that you actually genuinely want to work with. If you put yourself in a situation where someone pays you $3,000 a month, which is a lot of money, and you're stuck working with a client that you absolutely hate, it's going to be dreadful to you. Sure, you may make $3,000 a month from that client, but you're going to be working your ass off. You're probably going to be working like a ton of fucking hours, and he's going to be a headache to work with. Now, in the beginning of last year, I was working with this guy who was paying me $2,500 a month to just do social media posts, which is really, really good. I wasn't managing anything. I was just making the posts, and he was posting them too. So it was a pretty good deal in terms of money and the deliverables. This guy was such a pain in the ass. Like, we would have to go back and forth via looms to fix commas and full stops and shit like that, which you could understand as a copywriter, or you don't even have to be a copywriter for this to be annoying. It's very, very annoying every day to have this and to be spending 5 hours a day on this specific client when it's such an easy thing to do to create social media posts. And it was, but they didn't like the idea. It had to be this specific thing. It had to sound exactly like him, like to the dot. And we know as copywriters and marketers, that is our job, but it's not our job to fully get the other person to the dot, because that's not beneficial to the business, because we're spending our time doing stupid shit. And that was my experience with a pain in the ass client. And the truth is that I was going back and forth with this person for 6 months before I actually closed him. And every time I spoke to him, I got this feeling in my gut that, okay, this is kind of like iffy. I don't know if this would work out. I lasted with him like for just 2 months, and I was like, yo, bro, I have to stop with this. I can't take it anymore. It was the first time I dropped a client, which is very, very unusual because usually the client drops the copywriter. But in this case, I had to do it because I'm like, okay, this guy is an absolute nightmare. Very good dude in general, but his work ethic and how he worked was very bad. Very, very bad, and very like time wasting for no reason. So that is why you should do the same. Not just because I had this experience, but because it's logical that you may not like the hours that you put in with a client. If you do not like the client, or if you do not match, if the energy doesn't match, if you say one thing and the other person completely disagrees with it, there's going to be constant like back and forth with you two. It's gonna feel like you're going in a battle with him, and it's not good, even if you're getting paid 10K a month, you know. So that is why it's important for you to focus on attracting the right businesses. And you can't know that from the beginning necessarily, because what you see on Instagram or YouTube or the ads is not the same as who the person actually is. But on the call that you do with him, or multiple calls that you do with him, you have to have that phase where you basically qualify them for your personal, yeah, well-being, you know. So those are the 5 things that really, really helped me in 2025 that I'm going to be doing for the rest of my career here in marketing, and I feel like would help a lot of you out too. So focus on them, and immediately you're going to become a better copywriter and a better service provider that can charge a lot more and be valued for what you bring to the table for these businesses. So yeah, have a good day, and bye bye.